Hello and welcome to this India Today special. The Uddhav Thackeray-led Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government in Maharashtra has just completed 1 year. It's been a year of trial and tribulation, a trial by fire for the Uddhav Thackeray-led government of the Shiv Sena, NCP and Congress. To discuss that and much more, I'm joined by a special guest, the Sena Minister and Leader Aditya Thackeray is joining us. Thanks very much, Aditya, for joining us here on India Today. Would I be right in saying that this has been a baptism by fire, a year of a kind that you couldn't have imagined?
Definitely for a year that we've never expected. And when we thought that we would be having, colonies on the moon, or 2020, we would be on a different thing altogether, to learn to wash our hands altogether again, is a year that is completely unpredictable. But it's also been a privilege to be serving in such testing times. We have been at it and we've interacted many times before on television and just apart from that as well. So a year full of challenges, opportunities to work, to serve. I think only the best are given an opportunity to serve in such testing times.
Let's come to each of those challenges one by one. The first and the biggest challenge obviously has been to deal with COVID. When I look at the numbers, Maharashtra tops in the number of deaths, unfortunately 46,898 this weekend, and cases over 1.81 million. Has COVID in a sense exposed the weakness of the public health infrastructure system, the level of unpreparedness, which is why much of it has to be damage limitation?
There are two ways to look at it. Of course, globally, COVID has shaken things around. Healthcare has become priority after a long, long time. And we're looking back at dispensaries, primary healthcare centers, right up to super specialty hospitals and clinics for epidemics. But beyond that, let me be very candid here that Maharashtra has been one state. I cannot comment about other states because I don't know what's happening there. But we have been very, very active, proactive, accountable and transparent about our numbers, about our testing, about reporting every single case that comes as COVID. There's not been a single reason to hide it because it's something that we have to be honest about, take people into quarantine, isolate them and treat them for COVID. So we've not been, we've not been hiding any numbers. We've not been doing any less testing. It's our focus to get to as many people as we can. Even this whole movement that the Chief Minister started, Maje Kutumba Maji Jawabdari, my family, my responsibility. We've created a whole health map of Maharashtra through a survey with the underlying conditions, with whatever else that people may be going through, and we're putting it into analysis. So not just COVID, beyond that also we're creating a health map for the entire state. So we have been transparent about that. And if you see the active cases, somewhere Maharashtra is in a much more comfortable place than before.
Mm-hmm. I take your point about being transparent, but there is also a sense that one would have thought that Maharashtra would be far better equipped with its public health infrastructure system. Mumbai, Pune, even the districts like Jalgaon, Solapur, each of which experienced spikes at various times. Has that in a sense become a wake-up call that unless you invest much more in public health, states like Maharashtra also will suffer?
Absolutely. But this was a healthcare emergency like none before. This doesn't require the regular healthcare facilities that are existing from a long time. What we required for this were isolation facilities. And the short span of time within which the government of Maharashtra really responded to it, creating jumbo centers, isolation facilities, the beds that we increased with Mr. Rajesh Topeji as the health minister, roaming around everywhere, going to facilities, checking on them, with our municipal corporations, with the rural healthcare department, all of this. It has been a tremendous effort. And the whole system of getting oxygenation into our isolation facilities, I think this started off from early April. We are probably one of the first states to move into that. So obviously the challenge was huge, the gap was huge, but we jumped over it. And today, like I said before, we're in a much stable and comfortable position in terms of where our oxygenated beds are in concern, our ICUs, our ventilators, our oxygen concentrators, and the things. Of course, one of the more important things that, the challenges that we faced were two. One was about the incoming passengers from other countries and other states that we were constantly checking and tracking. And of course, Maharashtra is one state that obviously has a lot of floating population moving from one district to another for work and other concerns. And the other challenge we faced in our cities, especially Mumbai, Thane, Pune, and the bigger cities, were, with the type of housing that we have today, be it the slums, be it the chawls, be it the shared toilet facilities. These are some of the challenges, but even today, the protocols that have been set in by the committees in those housing societies and chawls have been something of a huge study, because a case like Dharavi or Jijamata Nagar in Worli or anything in Thane, these are really the examples that have been not just quoted by the World Health Organization, but all of us, because that is the resolve we made to stop COVID in whatever time we could, and it was only about taking precautions and disinfecting those areas. So I think it has been a huge effort, and it is an ongoing effort. I won't say that the effort is over. As long as the scientific community, as long as the doctors say it's over, we won't say it's over. And therefore, we've also faced a little bit of pressure and criticism in terms of opening up. But we've been extremely slow in that, only because we're only going by scientific advice and the advice of healthcare workers and doctors.
That was the question I was going to ask next, because the criticism has been that Maharashtra has been too cautious in opening up, even opening up of religious places, which you finally have done. According to some, was done too late. And the big question is, Mumbai is India's commercial capital. Unless you open up Mumbai, India's commercial engine will not start. And there's a sense that when it comes, for example, to local trains also, you've been extremely cautious in opening up. How do you respond to that? Because the challenge presumably is to balance lives and livelihoods. Has Mr. Uddhav Thackeray been way too cautious? Has he been someone who is unwilling to really open up, let's say like an Arvind Kejriwal or certain other governments who are more willing to take that risk?
In that case, we have to obviously compare the current rate of COVID spread. And if you see the surge that Maharashtra faced after the Ganpati season in September, was about 2,000 cases a day. That was for Mumbai. Likewise, even today, if I speak of Mumbai, the last 3-4 weeks, we've been around 700, 800, and then our surge has been around 1,140, 1,150. In this, of course, the first and foremost thing, like I said, our only deciding factor in opening up, and even when we went into a lockdown, our lockdown was actually starting from it started from March 12th, and we went into a step-by-step lockdown, a calculated lockdown. We didn't go into a knee-jerk reaction. Likewise, while coming out of it, every phase of Mission Begin Again has been calculated as per health safety norms, and that has been the only single deciding factor for opening up, because as administrators, our primary responsibility is saving the lives of people. And in a pandemic, being a medical emergency, we have to go by what doctors say. We have to open up in a steady manner. And today, like you said, if you compare the numbers of our city with any other city in India, we have been able to more or less control the spread of the pandemic in terms of the spikes that we have seen. The spikes haven't been huge, and that is probably because of Maji Jawabdari, Maji Kutumba, Maji Jawabdari, and also because of calculated, measured, staggered opening up. And that is how it's going to go. And whatever has opened up till now really hasn't shut down.
Therefore, let me get it very clear. So is that still going to be the philosophy of doing it slowly, that you will not rush into anything? Because there's so much of talk about opening up of Mumbai through the railway trains and the commuter network. Are you saying that the entire process will continue in this very gradual manner? You don't intend to sort of completely open up Mumbai or Maharashtra overnight?
We don't intend to go into a cyclical movement where we open up in a hurry and then we have to lock down things again and we lose lives and lose people. Every life for us is precious, and we will go in a staggered way. Of course, a lot of things today have opened up. Mumbai more or less has resumed to normal, apart from a couple of things. If you look at Maharashtra as well, a lot of things are going on in terms of whatever has been initiated and started. A lot of non-COVID work through the government also has started. But like I said, this is a medical emergency. This is a scientific response that it requires, and that is how it will be given. And even today, if I may remind all of us,
yes.
If I may just remind all of us, even today we don't really have a definite line of treatment or medicine for COVID. In terms of all these medicines that were said to be effective, right from remdesivir to tocilizumab to ivermectin and doxycycline to all of these. We don't have definite answers to this. Neither do we have a vaccine as yet. So till this challenge persists, it's going to be staggered and in a scientific way for sure.
Let's turn from COVID to the other big challenge, which is just running a three-party government. Would you concede that that slows down decision making? Because one of the criticisms has been that too much of power is vested in the bureaucrats. They sit on files. Uddhav Thackeray is still learning on the job, and having Sharad Pawar and the Congress in a way also doing their own as part of the government. Has that made things more difficult just running a coalition government?
Had that been the case, India Today wouldn't have given us the biggest improvements in our state and wouldn't have ranked tourism jumping from 5th to number 1 in 2020.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, and basically, like I said, it is. It's been a pleasure working in this government with all the three parties together. Just yesterday, someone asked me that in 2014, you said 150. What about it today? And I said we are 162 because the unity that we have in the three parties, the combination that we have, and I said this way back in June with you also. We've got the best of 11, right from like how we have in cricket. Playing for Maharashtra. So we have got the best from all the parties working together in great sync. The Chief Minister is leading the way. He believes in a lot of decentralization. No minister would complain in any lack of authority or power. The Chief Minister has full confidence in all of us, in all the officers, to the last man standing for the government in the system. And of course, a lot on the citizens as well. So we're working on a system that is a two-way system where we're getting feedback and working on it. We have the seniors working with us, advising us all the time. I think there is a great bonding in the three parties and the commitment to serve Maharashtra and the country together. So if you've noticed in the last 1 year, there has been no credit wars, unlike in the past. There have been no, gossips or not even controversies internally over anyone sharing any more limelight than the other. That is because everyone believes that this is one unit working together, and that is how we're going.
I'll come to the controversies in a moment, but Sharad Pawar, is he the remote control? Is he the one who, in a sense, takes all the major decisions, even at times some say for appointments, transfers? Mr. Pawar is the last word. Is that true that Uddhav Thackeray needs to constantly consult Sharad Pawar before taking major decisions?
I wouldn't suggest that you go by rumors and gossips, but of course, Pawar Sahib has been largely a guiding force, especially for me whenever I meet him, and for a lot of us when we meet him. The three parties have been working in consonance. And all the three parties have a working committee, 2 ministers from each party, and it's been running very smoothly. But there is a cordial relationship, a very, very. It feels like a family, and that is how we're going ahead.
You say it's a family. The BJP says it's a family that will break very soon. We just heard last week Devendra Fadnavis and Rao Sahib Danve, the minister of the BJP, suggesting that this government won't last for more than 2 to 3 months. There's constant speculation. Will the Shiv Sena split? Will the Congress split? Will the NCP split? Are these all rumors? I mean, how comfortable is the government? Is it easy to run a government when every week we are hearing these rumors, speculation? Will the alliance last or not?
I think when the BJP makes statements like that, in a day full of work in terms of COVID work and everything, these are some of the lighter moments we all enjoy together and laugh at these statements, because breaking families, breaking communities, societies, breaking the nation, that is the job of the BJP right now. And a desperate opposition is even getting more desperate each passing day. So we just laugh at it, have a lighter moment and move on. That's it. That's
it's interesting. It's interesting the way you're putting it. It's interesting the way you're putting it, because the BJP was your ally. It seems at the moment though the BJP versus Shiv Sena has become a real battle. I mean, they seem to be in a way targeting you almost every day.
They have been wanting to do that because the way I see it is when you're playing football, you have either Messi or Ronaldo trying to score a goal and you have 4 or 5 people just marking him. So it's man-to-man marking, and that's the job of the opposition, and let them do that. We'll keep scoring our goals, keep working for the people. And like I said, it's genuinely a time for laugh when they make statements like that, because honestly, once elections are over, once a government has been formed, I think a responsible opposition, especially in a time of pandemic, would really get down to working with the government. And of course, you should point out the flaws, you should point out the chinks in the armor, but then assist us to do better work, because finally the people look up to all of us together to work for them. We're all public representatives. So I don't think when, largely on a national front, the party speaks about one nation and one election, the state unit really starts speaking of a local election and, trying to disrupt things in a state, especially during a time of pandemic. I don't think anywhere across the world has a state unit or a city unit tried to disrupt such things and play politics during a pandemic like this.
So are you telling me that the government will last 5 years?
Absolutely, and many more, because the unity, the bonding that we found, the trust factor that we found, and the mutual respect that each of us have. There's no thing like cutting into each other's parties or credit wars or anything like that. We are working together as a unit, and that's how we're going ahead.
The reason I'm asking you that is because there was a sense when the government was formed that the Shiv Sena is the party of the Marathi Manus. It's a Hindutvavadi party. The Congress didn't seem very keen on the alliance. The NCP was the party at the end of the day of Sharad Pawar. So it appeared that this was a very disjointed alliance. Have you been forced to tone down your Hindutva agenda in a way to ensure that this government continues?
If you've noticed, in the three parties, none of us have moved away from our core ideals. We've followed up on the core ideals, but the basic tenet of all our parties, we came together for the state of Maharashtra. And even though we come from different positions of ideology, different positions of thought processes and working styles, I think what better could be a model of a vibrant democracy than Maharashtra, where three parties of three different positions come together and serve the state and actually have been able to do that in a time of such crucial crisis.
You don't worry in the process that you may lose your Marathi Manus or indeed your Hindutvavadi image, that the BJP in a sense will become the ultimate beneficiary?
There's nobody to give us certificates about that. Or anyone for that matter.
It's interesting again because the BJP believed that the mandate was for a BJP Sena government. Devendra Fadnavis still seems to hold that against you and Uddhav Thackeray, that you all stole the mandate.
We are a party that believes in keeping the promises, and if the promises are broken, then we have to find a way that is to fulfill the ultimate promise to the people to serve them. And when the Congress and the NCP and us came together, right from day one, be it the farm loan waivers, if you see 99% of the farm loan have been waived, right to Shiv Bhojan, to even the jumps we've made in industry or tourism, there has been a certain strength in terms of the governance, and there's been a certain sense of trust in be it right from industry to environmentalists to citizens in this government, and it's getting firm and more every single day.
I must ask you this because the controversies swirled since June around you and in a way around your government when the Sushant Singh Rajput case broke, and there was a direct targeting of you as an individual both in that case, and your name was also brought into the Disha Salian case. Was there a moment when you thought that this is getting too much and that I want to give it up, or that your father thought, Uddhav Thackeray has said in a Samna interview that attacking my family is not done, that there is a Lakshman Rekha that has to be drawn, I can also hit back? I want to understand where that comes from. Is there a sense that you and Uddhavji both believe that the Sushant Singh Rajput case was being used to target you, your family, and bring down the government?
I think politics has never seen a new low lower than that. And now, obviously in those times also, the main intention of the opposition was to distract us from the work we're doing. And that was at the peak of the crisis of pandemic. And when we were up the whole night, all nights, and sometimes we have tweeted to each other and things like that, we were helping people get beds, oxygen and stuff like that. To raise out controversies like that and really go to the pits of it was distasteful. I think it's really shameful to have such an episode in politics, but I think we've moved ahead. It's about focusing on our work. And like I said, I choose not to even pay attention to these controversies because the controversies are created to divert the main topics of this country. The main topics being the job crisis that we are facing today, or be it even the border crisis that we're facing today in terms of China and India, or even the farmer crisis. Today we have farmers, facing the brutalities of the government as they go towards Delhi to ask for the basic demands. So somewhere, I think, putting politics, putting Bollywood, trying to put Maharashtra to shame was this whole conspiracy that really couldn't be successful in that sense.
But I got a sense from the Uddhav interview to Samna that he wants to some way take revenge. Your government is now being accused of taking revenge, targeting a Kangana Ranaut, targeting an Arnab Goswami. The government is accused that that you also are using state power to target the people who have criticized you. Are you all misusing state power, misusing police power in a way?
We in a federal system at least believe that institutions are foremost and law and order is foremost. So in a lot of cases, in almost every case, obviously there is a certain protocol that is followed and law takes its own course. So I don't think in a federal structure, at least the states have a say to break any protocol or law. And that is how it has gone. But one thing for sure, there was a major controversy to defame Mumbai. There was a major controversy to defame politics, to defame Maharashtra, to defame Bollywood after last year's change in government. And the same people who were very dear to the establishment of the opposition when they were in government suddenly became villains, and Maharashtra became this whole place of crime and other scenes. So I don't know how the tectonic shift really happened in their perspective and perception, but I think it's just hurting somewhere that they've lost government because they breached trust, and that is how it's gone ahead.
So let me ask you in conclusion, has that been the biggest learning for you? That in politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies, and you can be at any stage targeted by anyone. Have you, in a sense, grown up? Has Aditya Thackeray and, dare I say, even Uddhav Thackeray as an administrator grown up in this 1 year? You've realized that being in power and is not a very easy job.
It is definitely a sense of responsibility, a sense of process of growing, and the more you interact with people, the more projects you're looking into. I think the responsibility you owe towards the people to serve them. I think every single day when you wake up and you see WhatsApps from people from different parts of the state or from different parts of the country who want to come to Maharashtra and seek some help or get things done, I think you wake up with a sense of responsibility or a sense of duty towards the people, and that increases day by day. And that is where that sense of duty and responsibility really diverts you from engaging into controversies, engaging into mudslinging, and just lets you focus more and better on the work at hand.
I'll ask you this in conclusion. You're a man with various interests. You are, people know of your interest in football. I'm sure you have other interests. You have a life beyond politics. Has this now become 24/7? Are you now a 24/7 Neta? Because partly it was seen as because Aditya Thackeray meets people from the world of Bollywood, so he must have some involvement with Sushant Singh Rajput, that your lifestyle was being used against you. Have you had to change your lifestyle also completely?
Had it been for COVID, not at all, because with COVID, we of course changing our lifestyle, working from isolated places and trying to meet people where even the people are safer with a mask on. But otherwise, no, this is something I really love doing. I love stepping out, getting things done, working. Politics is something we love, and by saying politics, it's about helping people, not indulging in what opposition does. But I love doing this. This is something on my mind 24/7. So it's something I love waking up to.
Well, I wish you very well, Aditya Thackeray. The challenges are far from over in Maharashtra. COVID is far from over, and you've had a tough 1 year. But we wish you all the very best in handling one of the most important states in the country. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure speaking to you.